Here in the Kung Fu Cup, round of 8, we've got a hell of a matchup. In the bottom right-hand side, our blue Terran player is INnoVation, taking on the red Zerg. In the top left-hand side, Dark. In this best of 3. So this is round of 8 of the Kung Fu Cup. And this is obviously, hopefully, going to be a fantastic series. We casted these guys in the China Team Championship a couple weeks ago. And while one game wasn't so great, the other game was actually really, really fun. So really hoping this gets to be a full best of 3 full of awesome games. And if it is, you guys know where this is going. It's going to be on YouTube. So hello to all the YouTube viewers. I'm just going to say it because I believe this series is going to be great. How you guys doing? Thanks so much for the love lately. We hit 16,000 subs, which is awesome. Of course, if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment down below. Be like, hi, Wardy. Love the videos. Okay, I'm not going to say this because actually last time I said you guys can say what you want. You guys actually said it, and I didn't get the meme because I forgot I told you guys to say it. And I'm like, I don't like being behind on my memes, you know. But yeah, this should be a great series in all seriousness. So let's settle down and see what happens in this Terran versus Zerg matchup. A matchup which has seen some twists and turns in the meta as of late as well. We've seen Terrans going back towards mech play a little bit. Not entirely, and not every single game. There's more of a mix of bio into this mech than there was last time mech was super prevalent in the matchup. And I think it's a certain map sort of thing as well. You know, Purity and Industry, Eternal Empire are very good maps to play mech on. Simulacrum is actually an interesting one to get through on the TvZ in general in a best of 3. Because this map is one that those Terran players generally just really don't like. I know I was talking to Clem the other day, and he just, he's obviously been playing Raynor a whole bunch, and he just says, like, yeah, well, Purity and Industry is just this map, Simulacrum is just this map where, like, I veto it against it, because it's terrible. And he's like, I'm like, why? He's like, well, they can just do what they want. It's actually kind of a funky one. Like, there's some good positions, like high ground here, or, like, across the bridge here. But there's also so many ways for the Zerg to counterattack through the maps. You know, so many ways for them to get this around. You know, if you're camping out here, they can come this way from the left and from the upper right. And that's not an impossible flank to set up. So, not all the Terrans the biggest fan of this map. But some players don't mind it as much. I mean, INnoVation lets it through in the best of 3 series, right? So, it is a shorter map as well. So, sometimes those roach rushes can be a thing. We'll see if INnoVation sets up in any way which sort of looks to negate that. This is going to be... Well, yes, it is going to be a double gas 3cc. So he takes double gas. He doesn't put all of his workers in it right away. And what this does is you still have the super fast 3cc like you go 1 gas. But you do then also end up on a starport pretty quickly. So you still have some good pressure to apply. As Dark is actually making a ton of Zerglings. He's got 6 lings coming around the map. And then he's making 10 more lings and then a few more counting. So he's actually really looking to get something done here. INnoVation needs to make sure to get the wall off up, otherwise he might be in some trouble. Now, there's no Baneling Nest or anything with this. This is just a flood of Zerglings to try and deal early game damage. This is oftentimes just looking to try and grab these couple of Hellions, and then from there, the game can become a little bit hectic. Obviously, INnoVation now sending his Reaper across the map. 2 Zerglings will find that. And now INnoVation, his Hellions need to pull back right away here, and he does have control of them, but he gets one surrounded. So these Hellions in some trouble, and I think INnoVation might just give up the low ground. Because the low ground, okay, there's like 5 SCVs here. You lose, you know, mining time. But at the very least, you're going to be able to say to yourself, well, you know what? Dark made all of these lings, right? He made 30 Zerglings, and usually you have like, you know, 6 or 10 at this point in time. That's like 10 drones he could have had. So while this is a delay for me, it's also a delay for Dark based on where he would usually want to be. I like this Cloak Banshee as a follow-up. I think INnoVation was going for it anyways. But this is the sort of attack from Dark where it's like, I'm going to hit you first, throw you off your game and throw you off your timings. And then I'm going to get a roach attack as a follow-up to come over here and to try and get something done as well. So that is the current plan, as the other Zerglings coming down in the bottom right. Stimpack will set up on this racks, and we're going to be seeing the Banshee starting to make its way out across to the upper left-hand side. Again, just going to be seeing that layer about halfway done. So, continuing along with this, a few extra SCVs popping, Hellions all gathering up, and now INnoVation is safe down the natural. And you look at this, and you know it's a 10 worker difference. Obviously, INnoVation has that 3cc early, so losing a couple workers is more recoverable than, you know, if you hadn't even started to build the 3rd base, right? So there's been some positives here overall. I don't mind it for INnoVation. And yes, it's nice for Dark. he feels pretty safe at the moment, and there's not really much coming his way for him to be too worried about. But hey, you know, there is going to be Banshees. This one is hanging around, and we'll start to press in, and there is spores, etc. But of course, there's always locations where you can kind of sit between bases. I mean, you get the Creep Tumor here. Overseer is up, though, so Dark is already going to start deflecting Banshee number 1, bringing this out over to the right side. So Spore Crawlers are up. Overseer is ready, which, again, it's not the end of the world, because Banshees have so much potential in this matchup. Like, Banshees are, like, such a crazy unit. You can get so much value out of them. The depots go down here. Dark will not pounce on the opportunity, and INnoVation will re-wall himself in. In the end, INnoVation didn't slow down too much either, by the way. He never, you know, replaced the Hellions he lost. He went up to 4, which would have been 6, right? So he sticks very true to what his build usually would be. Those Evo Chambers dropping down, actually a good block to stop the units coming into the third base. However, those Evo Chambers are also very exposed if you get a larger push on the map as INnoVation. They're one of the first things you'll run into, right? So if you push this bottom side, you could actually deny the upgrades, which is obviously huge as well. So, you know, it's a benefit for Dark to drop for stopping the Hellions now. It's obviously a risky play as well, as there's those Banshees finally getting through for 7 workers killed. And Queens are just not going to be able to follow them very easily. And there's a couple Queens in the natural. They're always unnecessary because there's no Spore here. Looks like INnoVation is just going to give up the Banshees and just get as much as he can right away. Nice transfusion saves. Double transfusion saves the drone. Well, that's nicely done. There's a few lings into the third base. And they'll find 1 SCV, but the Marine count is good. Stim pack is available. And so these lings will not do too much at all. So INnoVation kills 10 workers now. Dark goes back up to 70, but of course that means he did have to replace some drones, which means that his army on the map is not as strong as it otherwise could have been. Fourth hatchery setting up, and we do see the drone of Dark gonna come to the top side as well. There's a few Marines unloading here out in the center. Siege tank setting up, and just gonna be seeing the Baneling speed is about to finish up as well. The infestation pit out on the third base. And still just bringing INnoVation out across and towards the center of the map. So, you know, really kind of getting across for the first time outside of those Hellions. And let's see what he can do. Not a lot left defensively to deal with these Zerglings. A couple siege tanks, but of course tanks against Lings. Not always the craziest. He actually does back away from this. INnoVation, though, distracted. And does walk into creep spread with speed. Banelings rolling on into him. That's such a shame, because INnoVation's actually on 1-1 right now against 0-0. And if you actually are able to fight with that, that's amazing. But obviously, fighting with that when you just walk into rolling Banelings, you're not going to have a good time. Hive on the way up. Dark playing a pure Lingbane composition to get into a fast Hive, end up on Ultralisks. I mean, INnoVation will have a 2-2 time in this game. I think that's going to be about it. But obviously, a 2-2 time where your first drops didn't do very well or much at all. Where are these Marines going? Okay, there's a medevac with them, but just a little bit ahead of it. I'm just a little bit concerned because INnoVation has already lost a couple of units at this stage from, you know, just bad positioning. Not even bad position on the map, but bad responsibility of his units once they get into some, you know, tougher positions. Zerglings going down along this bottom side, and now more Lingbane moving up to this high ground. Marines getting a couple of shots off on these Lings, but nothing too crazy as now 2 more medevacs load up. And that is 16 Marines from INnoVation, which will start to head across down this bottom side of the map. So really looking to keep the pressure building here. As more Zerglings and Banelings coming across, and they're going to go running in towards this front orbital. And the 2 medevacs all the way down to the bottom side, and they will come around the far corner. They're actually going to miss every bit of vision for Dark. That's actually kind of crazy. Dark really just blind to this attack, so that's nice for INnoVation. I mean, it's something he really needs a little bit of. Some harassment, something to slow Dark down a little bit, man. Dark's already building Vipers, and it kind of feels like he's just going to be very ready for any push INnoVation has coming his way. INnoVation on the 8 racks, no 4th command center. Finds a couple of Banes out over here. We'll be dropping in over here, and he'll get a couple drones, but with the Spore Crawlers dealing damage already, I mean, the Queens are very quick to clean up. The Lings again on top of this. It's not that many drones killed as INnoVation gets a couple creep tumors and now begins to pull back away to the bottom right-hand side. And these tanks will unsiege. Coming back up this right side as well. There's another round of Burrowed Banes over here, so something that INnoVation has to be extremely careful of. Oh no. No, he's actually going right towards it. Okay, he turns around. Well, that's the best decision INnoVation made this game so far, and he doesn't even know it yet. Man, there's just Burrowed Banes everywhere, though. It's very scary. Now, INnoVation did scan and kill a couple of Banes earlier, so definitely something for him to be somewhat cautious of as the Marines here. Dark's watching for it. That actually wasn't so bad as he actually is able to pick up a couple of shots on tanks, but that's about it. And again, as Dark comes running in, INnoVation has some units left behind, so not really able to do much. There's another scan and another 2 Banelings found. Nice network on the way up from Dark. So what he wants to do is really expand his options at this stage, get to a position where you can start, well, basically harassing into the main, etc. Obviously, ultras that show up there are very difficult to deal with. There's a big attack across the map, and INnoVation probably has to pull back to deal with this. Gets the tank sieged up and a few shots onto Banelings at the very least. INnoVation's army from the top side. I mean, at the moment, Dark is just running straight in, and INnoVation is, well, just not able to get across the map because every single time he tries, Dark's just shown up with his entire army. Now, Dark's army is obviously very committed here. What can INnoVation do? He just walked into some burrowed Banelings on this top side. He's had enough. He's out. Let me get a very quick rewind on this Baneling connection. Look at this. Burrowed Banelings right here. Just want to show this really quickly. Boom. Big connection. Big double connection. And that is GG's. INnoVation drops out game 1. What is this map pool that they have selected for best of 3? First, INnoVation plays on like the map that Zerg seem to love. Now Dark's letting them play on the map that Terrans to love. Like, what's going on? As on the right hand side, our blue Terran player down a map in this best of 3 series is INnoVation, taking on the red Zerg in the 12 o'clock Dark. In the semi-finals here of this week's Kung Fu Cup. Some great matches today. Last week we were kind of sad we didn't get an INnoVation Rogue round of 8 matchup. But this week we are well, looking as though we're going to be having a pretty good round of 8 with this INnoVation Dark match, obviously. And the rest of the bracket is stacking up nicely as well, of course. Semi-finals and finals yet to come. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. So this time already Dark opens a gas in a spawning pool. Now this map, as a lot of Zergs don't like playing on it so much, we have seen a fair amount of Roach all-ins on this one. You know, a fair amount of players just saying, well, you know what, let's just go for this. Like, let's just push across the map, let's just get this going and just end this early. And it's not the longest map to push across. You come straight through the center here and down and along, and then you're kind of over here already, arriving onto the Terran Natural. So maybe something aggressive from Dark because of the gas pool. Super early, though. He actually doesn't go for, like, a couple of lings or anything too crazy. Like, just a couple lings, like, not a lot. And I wonder if maybe the gas pool is just, I sort of think INnoVation's just done with me and he's going to proxy rack me sort of play. You know, keep yourself very safe there. We'll see how it develops over the next little while. For the very least, we do see Zerg and speed starts. It's not going to be purely Roaches right from the start, if there's going to be Roaches at all. So as SCV pulls back out with the factory of INnoVation dropping down into the main base, so gets that underway, and again, SCV just trolling into the top left-hand side of the map. A couple of Zerglings continuing down as well. Let's see those couple lings continuing around. Just gonna see the Reaper of INnoVation just continue to patrol a little bit. Zerglings continuing over. Ling Speed Queens all on the way up as the factory gonna be completing in a moment or two as the bunker will set up on the high ground. I mean, you can see that INnoVation is scared, right? Because he knows this is like a pool first. He knows a little bit of what this could be. So INnoVation, you know, Dark, I feel like is playing, actually just trying to play safe against potential INnoVation aggression. Now INnoVation has to play safe against potential Dark aggression. He's not even building Hellions. That's how afraid he is. He's just going to keep building Marines. He's thoroughly convinced that this is going to be a Roach attack. Absolutely. Well, as this factory finishes the tech lab, we'll probably see a siege tank as well. He could maybe go for a Cyclone if he feels like he wants the mobility initially and he's afraid of Ravager Biles. That's kind of crazy though, right? Like, I mean, you see a couple lings here. They run up INnoVation. This costs him quite a lot, right? Because now he needs to get down to the low ground soon because he wants to start walling off down here with his next set of depots. So he needs to start coming down here and feeling confident enough to be down there. And it looks as though it cancels the bunker. we'll get the money back. And like I said, you have to kind of make your play down here if you're going to make your way down, because if you don't, and you don't start up these supply depots, etc., then you're really going to struggle to get the wall off up in time against, futureling attacks. So really do need to get that figured out and sorted out as the barracks comes forwards here and will give itself away for a moment or two just to kill off an overlord. It's actually going to be a medevac. I mean, a lot of marines early in the game, right? So medevac makes some sense. It's the one way you can get across the map and also still stay very safe against that Zerg army in these early stages. As we do have our medevac out around into the center. A couple of things coming over and an SCV. Already taking some damage. That Hellion coming around to the front as well. With INnoVation, Cyclone, and Marines just going to continue to the upper left-hand side. +1 melee upgrades and the Carapace coming into play as well. As those Zerglings continue to come across, and just going to be seeing INnoVation coming back through. We do have the Queen of Dark comes in, hits that medevac pretty quickly. And Stimpack continues to come around. Factory lifts off, moves over to the side, and tech lab itself up. Actually gets himself another Overlord here. So this is actually being pretty good harassment from INnoVation. Considering it's no Hellions, and that's obviously a very unorthodox way to play TvZ, he's doing alright. Couple Overlord kills, etc. We'll say Dark's upgrades are going to be really quick here compared to INnoVation. So INnoVation will be missing that 1-1, and that may be something that kind of hurts him a little bit. I mean, look how late it's going to be. His engineering bay is starting now. He will be starting 1-1 when the upgrades are finishing from Dark. Now, Dark's melee is a bit ahead of his Carapace, but even still, that's kind of crazy. Marine Cyclone drop back in the mains. Actually can get some drones with this. INnoVation is really making Dark struggle. In the end, he actually went into some Hellions. I mean, they don't last very long at all. Dark jumps on them in an instant, so they do absolutely nothing. No, I actually kind of liked it for INnoVation until he lost these Hellions, because now these Hellions are down. You actually, okay, well now there's also no wall off the front. Is the link count good enough to just jump on these Marines? It may be. This is kind of scary for INnoVation. He realizes now he's got to start pulling back. His medevac's coming here, and he does have Stim. Well, it's a very close defense, and he does just about make it happen, but yeah, imagine the Hellions are still up, right? The Hellions coming across and getting themselves surrounded. It gives up a lot of the safety that's meant to be here to deal with these Zerglings. So missing out on that is definitely a shame, as the Baneling Nest about halfway done in that natural expansion. The rest of these Zerglings of Dark all the way down to the south side of the map. A lot more lings coming on into play, as we do see a couple of hatcheries continue to build up, and again this single Zergling comes around to the watchtower, so brings us to the watchtower, takes that over. A couple extra racks still coming through. Again, 1-1 upgrades, and the combat shields coming into play right now. As we're going to be seeing our Zerglings of Dark still around down to the south side. A lot more Zerglings continuing over as well, as we just do have our Marines, Tank, Cyclone all gathering up. NT2 on those melee upgrades here, as we're going to see Dark looking to, well, just stay active on the map. I kind of like this from Inno, just a single medevac of Marines. The thing is, INnoVation can't push out until at least 1-1, especially when Dark is already on 1-1. Those fights are just not going to go well for you. First station pit setting up from Dark in the natural expansion. Again, a lot of lings out and around on the map. And INnoVation is going to come through and take the watchtower for a moment or so. Drops one Marine down. You have the medevacs continuing over. The couple of Queens in the main base. He's going to start unloading here, and the Cyclone comes in as well. Going to get a lock onto that Queen, and the Queen is going to go down. The rest of these Marines stimming through, and yeah, these Queens actually continue to drop quite quickly. This is a really good drop. How much are you cleaning out here is INnoVation. The medevac on this left side I mentioned before has actually just now gone down. INnoVation, micro at the end here, a little bit of a shame. Maybe could have target fired down those Banelings, but he just didn't have it. But even still, a lot of Queens going down, and INnoVation puts himself in a good position to continue through. Is now the Hive on the way in the main base as well. This Queen is able to shut down whatever was left in this main. I don't know, I think a Marine was left behind. And Dark about to have Baneling speed. Obviously, the one issue with the speed of his upgrades in this game was that it does delay the lair a lot, which is what delayed the Baneling speed to be this late in the game. So that's worth keeping, having kept in mind. As Dog is once again rushing up to Hive, and I'm actually really afraid for him on this attack because without Hive in play, it's pure Ling Bane, and this is such a good push from INnoVation. Even if you wait until Hive is done as Indo for 2-2, and it's like, well, he doesn't have Ultras, he still has Vipers, etc., right? He already has those Blinding Clouds. Now, Dog really doesn't have much at all. He's actually down on supply. He's about to have 2-2. I think that's probably the one thing here that's really, really bad for INnoVation. The fact that Dark is about to be on an upgrade lead. Now, Dark says, I'm not going to fight this, though. I might just go for a counterattack instead. We'll see how well prepared INnoVation is to deal with that as a few Banes connect in. That Hatch staying alive for the moment. Yeah, I think INnoVation's okay. He should be able to get this hatchery still. It'd be very unfortunate if he wasn't able to finish it off. He's not paying attention to it right now. Dropping the main base. Shut down instantly by a few queens. I mean, these Lings running in to protect this hatchery, but it's a big cost, right? It's a lot of Zerglings that go down, and INnoVation will just bring more Marines forward to clean this out. Now, INnoVation's not been able to reinforce this army for a while, so can you get away with anything here? Or are you just going to be forfeit to the fact that Dark is, now reinforcing this position? Baneling's coming through as INnoVation tries to press through the top side. If there was a time for INnoVation to get away with the rest of that army, it would be about now, as he has to lift up and leave on the top right. And this army's still sitting stationary in the left-hand side then. It's going to be seeing the 2-2 upgrades about to finish up from INnoVation as well, so getting those completed. And again, Marines and tanks continuing over. 1-2 tanks already sieging up, and these Banes are going to come crashing into this. And like I said, at some point, INnoVation is going to get cleaned up here. It's just impossible to really get away with everything. Hey, what is really sick is this Cyclone from the start of the game is still alive and amongst all of this here. This Bio Force actually scares Dark away. Is now dropping the main base again. The last one didn't do so hot, but this one's actually going to do great. A couple queens already. And he's going to be able to continue through. I mean, those drones are prime targets just sat in the top side. Meanwhile, INnoVation pushing through the front. He's going to, well, he's got a Widowmine here that should be connecting. He's obviously looking elsewhere as these Balins connect. It's probably the army in the main, which he was busy lifting up, etc. But even still, it's not bad for him over here as the Widowmine connects. A couple of Zerglings going down. Mauling Bane of Dark still trying to figure out just where it wants to go. Again, these two queens and the Zerglings coming around. That medevac ends up being pushed away. There's a couple extra Marines stimming, and the Overlord still taking some extra damage. Again, Creep Tumor going down here. Widowmine is just not quite dropping as these Widowmines going to blow up a lot of Zerglings. Oh my god. This one actually somehow has 0 kills on it. I think it just got it fired in the exact same place as the first one did. Just afterwards. Man, Dark just bled out in this game. INnoVation's pressure is absolutely added up and is now looking as though it's probably going to be over. I mean, Dark's actually on less than 30 supply. And INnoVation's pressure and his attacks have absolutely worked out. So a good job by INnoVation. He's going to tie this series 1-1. We're getting ourselves game 3 here between INnoVation and Dark today. This hatchery goes down. I mean, this is just... I mean, Dark has so much money you can't even spend, and that might be somewhat of the issue of having lost a lot of those queens to some of the earlier medevacs, combined with losing some hatcheries here and there. I mean, Dark is streaming in what he can when he can, but INnoVation's reinforcements just continue to come across the map, and it's one of those scenarios where you really can just stream units across. INnoVation in the meanwhile, by the way, 4th base into a 5th base. He actually misclicked the Planetary Fortress here. He's pressed load SCVs instead of the Planetary Fortress button, so slight mistake there, but at the end of the day, it's something you can fix, as it might not even come down to having a 5th base, right? I say it might not. It's very unlikely the 5th base will matter much at all here. As Dark still just running units in a few at a time. He actually has +3 melee and about to have +3 carapace, which is maybe the point where INnoVation maybe has to think about, maybe, I don't even know if you have to think about backing away, but like, maybe it's not so bad to back away and then just come with a larger army when 3-3 is done. Of course, right now, it feels very good to just continue attacking and, forcing Dark to just build here in the moment. It means you're basically always streaming Zerglings in. There's never going to be anything like Ultras teching up, teched up to or anything like that. As these Balins, I actually feel we're trying to blow up the Changelings there for a moment. I feel like Dark maybe even getting confused as to what is his and what is INnoVation's. Dark now supply block stops losing Overlords. And that's obviously never going to be pretty as more and more Marines still coming through. Again, you're starting to see the effect of the +3 carapace. These Lings, they just do not want to die. Obviously, there's quite a few Marauders in this army as well, and Marauders are not really designed to deal damage to Zerglings, so it doesn't really help. As a lot of the medevacs getting sniped down as well. Dark will just not die. He refuses. But in 5 seconds or so, we've got +3/+3, and But the game, again, might just be done before that even matters, but it's just going to make it even easier for INnoVation to keep attacking forwards, as he will keep on in. He's going to go for this base over this side. Parasect Bomb on him, Medevac as Widowmines burrow up. A few more Lings and Banes from coming up this ramp, and, well, Widowmines all over the place. Balins continue to connect. Medevac's blown up by Widowmines too. And now some extra Queens coming in. Is INnoVation... I mean, at what point do you just stop this INnoVation and, again, build into that larger army for just a couple moments? Well, maybe never, because at the moment, this fight has genuinely been going on for like 2 minutes or more, consistently. Queen still going down, more Lings on the way out. Dark still fighting a losing battle, still money in the bank he cannot spend. INnoVation target fired the Bane with the Marauders there. That was pretty sick. Slows it down, does not connect. Another Widowmine shot just doesn't get to go off. Now it will, but it'll blow up a Marine or two as it goes. In the end, Darkness doesn't have the numbers to stay in this, and he will type out GG to give INnoVation game 2, and the series ties up at 1 apiece. Wow, wow, wow. Great series again out of these two in the round of 8 here. Hey, thank you so much, Aristum, for the 20-month resub as it takes us into a game number 3 and Eternal Empire. What a map to wrap this up on. As in the top right-hand side, our blue Terran player, it is going to be INnoVation. And the bottom left, our red Zerg is Dark. When's the replay pack going to be released? Replay pack, of course, to Twitch subscribers or to Patreon users. Patreon users of $5 or more. Patreon.com/WardiTV. These replays will be in the replay pack. When? You know, I could maybe do it like next couple of days. We only just did one like a couple of days ago, though, and I don't like doing them like every few days. Just because that's a little bit spammy. I'd rather do them every couple of weeks, but if you guys are super eager for these replays, I could probably get them out tonight or maybe tomorrow. You guys let me know what you'd fancy. I mean, you guys are gonna tell me you want them ASAP. I know. Yeah. Phantom Cat, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime as we have this game 3 coming up. Again, Dark really scouting for these proxied barracks. Really believing INnoVation might try and proxy his way to victory here in the end of this series. Overlord coming out, moving across the top. Reaper is on the way in on this main base. Again, that Reaper up and running. We do have ourselves a CV scout as well, so INnoVation just being safe. Nothing too much to mention on Eternal Empire. I mean, if there is a map to play mech on out of this series, well, we kind of have Purity Industry as a good mech map. This is another of the mech maps. If INnoVation is fancying it. INnoVation obviously is absolutely capable of playing mech. Actually, INnoVation had a few phases of playing mech earlier this year in the Katowice qualifiers, etc. He was playing mech in general, and then he showed up and played the Katowice qualifiers one day, and he was just like, you know what? I'm just going to play this mech style way. I just take 5 bases, I slowly take 6, I'm going to do nothing for like 25 minutes, and then I'm going to kill you. And the Zergs were just like, wait, what? And then the Zergs figured out how to deal with that, so it didn't last very long. But yeah, INnoVation definitely someone who is very capable of playing mech if you would like to. I'm going to see the Lings. I'm going to take some damage here as the Reaper firing away. No early game creep tumor actually from this Queen. Just going to drop an inject on the natural, which is not seen all of the time nowadays. Usually you see an early creep tumor. So, and you know, usually this Reaper fights to try and deny that creep tumor. That's obviously not happened here. Engineering Bay blocking the 3rd hatchery, so that slows Dark down a little bit as well. Over off to the side, as our Zerglin speed is on the way, and extra drones now, and 3rd hatchery finally able to start. So again, this Engineering Bay block is always something which is a little bit annoying to deal with out in the front. It's always a little bit of a frustration as INnoVation will bring this barracks back up towards the main base. 3rd command center from INnoVation starting up as well as the starport begins to build this tech lab. So tech lab already underway. The barracks is going to land here as well. And just going to be seeing another couple of Hellions on the way up as the tech lab starts up on this Rax 2. Definitely feels like just a Cloak Banshee setup once again. So INnoVation Banshee's early in the game. Dark's lair pretty quick this time too, so really focusing on the lair, probably because of the later third hatchery. You can see he's a little bit oversaturated already, which typically means you start getting these gases a bit sooner, and hence you really need the lair to make much out of that, and you typically just end up going Spire and Mutalisks and a Banelin speed early. And then evolution upgrades, etc., just that little bit later on. Dark not actually mining off these gases just yet, though, as the third hatchery will finish up, and he can start to saturate the minerals, get that underway. Hellions again trying to get in towards the queens there, trying to do a little bit. Queen coming through, Hellions get turned around, and again a couple of extra barracks from INnoVation just building up in the main base, engineering base onto the natural. Stimpak coming up, and a Viking has finished. In the end, he's decided not to go cloak this Overlord, not even scouting, he just decides not to. Very interesting. It's a little bit of a switch up from INnoVation, and he's just going to start building his way in towards Bio. And yeah, with the Viking, obviously you clean up a little bit of this control on the map of Dark. You actually supply block Dark here, which is obviously not really meant to happen. He was supply blocked anyways on 66 over 66, and then the Overlord going... Oh, sorry. He was close to being supply blocked anyway. Sorry, my brain just derped out. You know what? Ignore me. Ignore that statement. Third hatchery, getting a couple of Evo chambers up on it, and Dark will want to move down towards its fourth base fairly shortly as well and start establishing over here. Still some Hellions of INnoVation out towards the third base as well, and a Viking of INnoVation hanging around the 9 o'clock position. Looks like it wants to come in pretty quickly and maybe think about dropping down and picking away at a few drones. He's going to make his way around and just going to be seeing this queen able to get a couple shots off. Again, a couple of extra creep tumors going down. One more melee upgrade still coming in. The Hydralisk then drops down on the third base as well as these two medevacs load up in fifth. Well, I can't count. 13 Marines going to go across. So yeah, INnoVation just really kind of happy to say, well, you know, just a Viking to clear some bits and pieces out. I'll start dropping, of course, off my stim and my upgrades. And, you know, generally these drops, you know, they used to be all about cleaning up this creep spread. But it looks like INnoVation is going to do what has kind of been a newer thing in TvZ. You know, I say this within the sense that actually this was a thing, like, kind of became a thing more like 1.5 to 2 months ago. But INnoVation is just going to ignore the creep spread and just go for drone damage. So he says, yeah, you know, the creep, if I fight it, he's just going to replace it, and I can probably deal like larger damage to the creep when I have a real push to kind of station there and to really, you know, continue to threaten the creep throughout the, you know, for a longer period. As these medevacs, he's just not going to save this one. If he'd just flown away, maybe he had, but he got greedy going back for Marine. But yeah, instead he's just going to come in and try and get some drones and kill some units, and you know, this is damage which obviously adds up for the game rather than, again, the creep spread, which is just like, well, you know, what's the creep really going to do here as he flies back across this right side? He's now looking to power up this main push he's got coming across the map. So he is actually going to be a little bit ahead of the +1 carapace of the Zerg. Now, +1 melee will be done, but carapace as an upgrade is way more important for the Zerg player because you're taking a lot more hits than damage, you know, than hits you're dealing. Just because you're playing melee units against range units. So let's see how this goes. Tanks need to set themselves up here. INnoVation getting a little greedy with the position, really running very far forwards with these tanks and getting them in range from the high ground to the low ground there. Big stim as these UC Dogs on a press in. Still no +1 carapace for this fight. Quite a lot of Marines left over. I mean, Hydra's showing up and they're able to get on top of these couple of tanks, but I mean, the Marine count is still doing very well, and at the very least you're going to kill off a lot of Hydralisks here, which is obviously not a bad trade. Hydras are expensive units, not easy to replace. I think INnoVation should be very content with this first attack. Definitely did well, traded nicely, and I mean, more rounds of these attacks ready. He already has a second factory as well, so he's already set up to do a lot in terms of producing extra siege tanks in the future. I also love these depots. These look like they're just like INnoVation's just like, oh my god, I need depots, and you just randomly place them. But if this initial wall gets busted, these depots sim city you against the Ling follow-up. So if you Bane bust this and then there's just Lings, Marines can have so many choke points to utilize to make that fight so much better for them. So it's a really, it looks very random and like, what, you know, I'm just like, depots everywhere. But actually there's a little bit of thought process behind having those like that behind that wall off. So you can see the couple of troop tumors going down, a few Banes pulling back. A lot of Zerglings coming across the map, and they're just going to go straight in towards these supply depots. Marines going to come back over this side, and Zerglings already dropping once again. The extra Banelings will just be finishing up as... Here we go. I mean, this aggression going to start, and he actually lowers a couple of these depots to give himself some better access through. And he's going to still do okay here. I mean, this got shut down. Only a couple depots busted. Tanks in position. Infestation pit from Dark going to be setting up right now as well. There's the rest of these Marines able to keep pressing forwards. A few lings taking some damage. Run, Marines, run! Tank shots doing nicely to clean up a little bit extra. Now, INnoVation's got some money in the bank, money to be spent. I will say that Dark is, well, on 5 bases and going to base number 6. So if INnoVation wants to win this, it's time to buckle down and play it for the long game. You know, start slowly working your way towards and through bases, and then obviously just kind of going from there. That's got to be the plan right now. Command center starts to morph into a planetary fortress as Marines coming across. Siege tank from INnoVation sieging up as well, and pushing out onto this creep spread already. A couple of extra creep humors going down. A crossover here as well. Now more Lings and Banes still wanting to run through and see what they can find. The answer is, quite frankly, just not a lot. So they will not do all too well there. Lurker-Den on the way up from Dark. I mean, Lurker-Den really makes this a much longer game where you just can't ever then just fight into positions as INnoVation. You have to play it so much slower. So this little drop ship gets annihilated. I mean, that was 3 medevacs initially, and quite a lot goes down as INnoVation makes its way out around this left-hand side, catches a few Banelings. I mean, secures the 4th base, and as he secures this, hopefully he can take this 5th base too. Really bring himself up kind of level with the base count of Dark. These are Marauders as the wall-off, not actually supply depots with medevacs there. They will survive. Obviously, their armor upgrades or their armor tag on them helps to survive this too. As you do see adaptive talons on the way up, so actually interesting that Dark prioritizes adaptive talons over seismic spines, so goes Lurker repositioning ability over Lurker just straight up range straight away. I guess Fire is kind of a mobile comp to that health, but I generally thought that the range was just better, as we're going to see these Lings and Banes coming through. He gets surround on these Marines before they split away. I'm not sure how well this is actually going for INnoVation or for Dark, because these Marines are still somehow alive? What? How? These Marines, I'm 99% sure they were surrounded and there was Banelings rolling at them and they had nowhere to go to. The rest of this Biospore still coming through, and I mean, oh my god, these Zerglings are like, these tanks target fire down the Hydras. These Zerglings aren't going to do much, and Dark is just bleeding out units here. INnoVation's going to turn this into a real good push. Dark should not have fought this. He should have been waiting for Banelings, and instead, I mean, now he has Banelings, and that will help, but instead he gave up so many Zerglings and Hydras, and now these Banes are going to have a tougher time. Road is still pressing through. Hydra still going down. A lot more Lings still coming up as a couple of Zerglings nibbling their way through here, and they will get a run by Marines. And Marauders will start to come on forwards, and Lings coming into that. Meanwhile, I mean, we still have this push from INnoVation. Will deny the low ground 5th base, so that will fall. And INnoVation up in supply. Dark is once again struggling to spend all of his money. He is struggling to spend all of his money here. And there's going to be seeing this Bioforce still pressing forwards. Lings, Banes, Hydras continue to come through. Vipers, do they have an abduct? I don't even know if it's worthwhile. I think they want parasitic bombs on some of these low health medevacs. Pretty much guaranteed kills, and obviously that would be nice. Some good splash damage. So he's going to save the energy on those Vipers for the moment. Seismic Spines is about to finish. Lurkers are actually exactly what you need here as Dark. Because right now, INnoVation is overrunning you and pulling you around and pushing the game into his kind of the way he likes it. What you need to do instead is you really need to make this like hive tech, get that in play with the Lurkers, and now you can really hold positions more easily, and it's going to force INnoVation to slow down, tech up a bit, give you a chance to spend your money as Dark, and it should help him a lot in this game, especially, I think, because he loses the entire bottom side of the map, though, so he only really has this base out here as base number 4 now, and 4 Lurkers. I mean, 4 Lurkers right away on Terrifying. And those Lurkers only have +1 missile attacks as well. Let's see these tanks sieging up once again. Zerglings of Dark coming out around this right-hand side. And just going to be seeing the Banes, Hydras, Lurkers All of this gathering up together. Zergling's coming through. A siege tank going down. The rest of the Banelings just getting set to go. Zerglings are going to run on by from Dark in towards this third base mineral line. So already a lot of SCVs going down over here. This Bioforce continuing to press forwards. Lings all over the place. I mean, a lot of SCVs going down. I was just going to be seeing this Bioforce coming through, and Spinecrawler drops. A couple of lurkers getting picked away as well. These Banes are going to keep on rolling in. Tanks continue to fire, and the Hydra's taking a lot of hits. Zergling's out over towards the natural expansion. And we are going to be seeing these couple of siege tanks continue to go down as well. INnoVation. 34 workers lost to this counterattack all of a sudden. Now, it's recoverable, it's redeemable. He does have a 5th CC flown into position, but he just needs a few moments to recover and to rebuild. He's denied the base of Dark on the left. So Dark has 75 drones, but he actually doesn't have anywhere to mine from 75 drones. So if we look at the income, it's not even that advantageous to Dark. Oh my god, INnoVation lost an orbital over here, though. It's not even that crazy favorable for Dark, because INnoVation, obviously, right now, I guess, is obviously lifted as well. So that, keep that in mind. While INnoVation is lifted up and not really mining anywhere, Dark's only just in his own favor because he doesn't have these bases, but now he's got them. It should start to skyrocket as well if Dark doesn't die to a follow-up attack, which might just be coming across the map very soon. But that's the sort of thing that lurkers are very good at stopping, of course. Very good at stopping. I mean, hell of a counterattack. It's just what he needed at just the right time. INnoVation making an army move down to the bottom right. Liberators and Bio is not going to have a good time here at all. It's so unfortunate as well. Stim literally wears off these units as they get here. I don't know why there's so many medevacs down this side, as these parasitic bombs are going to get rid of all these medevacs. Oh, the one? Actually, even got that one in the end. INnoVation is struggling, just losing a few units. I think a larger push is the way to go. He's obviously afraid of just pushing one way and then getting counterattacked again. He does have a 4th and 5th base up. If he kept this orbital alive, that's such a great helping hand as well, especially in a time where you're maybe having to rebuild a lot of these SCVs. Lurkers getting some good damage done initially, as INnoVation is going to be ran into by all of these Lings. Honestly, he's doing pretty okay. The tanks are very slow to siege up, and amongst all of this, he was doing all right initially when these Lings are just streaming in, but now the Hydras are here. INnoVation loses just a bit too much, and I think Dark has got this series under wraps. It just doesn't feel like INnoVation will have a way to draw this out any longer. I don't know when the score changed to 8-1, guys. I'm sorry. I think I pressed Shift-I to look at income, and I hit Shift-8 as well. It's just 1-1, guys. INnoVation didn't take that much of a lead. I'm not that much of an INnoVation fanboy. Wardy, Terrans are so weak when they win one map, they deserve to win 8. Ha 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 ha. Okay, guys, we get it. Lings and Lurkers going to press through in this Planetary Fortress, and INnoVation in general will be in trouble, as Dark will take game number 3 of the series, and that will be GG's to wrap us up, close us out, and, well, bring us to an end right there. Dark, 2-1 over INnoVation in this quarter-final matchup of the Kung Fu Cup here today.